Let me ask you a question. Have you bought a car recently? Or maybe even just taken your car into the shop? When you did you have a great customer experience? I mean, like, did the cars you looked at online match the ones at the lot? Did the dealer remember you from the last time you looked at cars? Were you able to set the terms of the conversation, whether that's via text message or email or whatever your preference is? Or did you have to compromise on some of that, or more honestly, a lot of that? Look, the car buying experience, I'm going to say it, it's bad and we all know it's bad. Like Salesforce in their 2022 Trends in Automotive report noted that 99% of customers are dissatisfied with the traditional car buying experience. So we're all unhappy with the experiences that we've had. I mean, case in point, I traded in my car to a dealer a few years ago, and occasionally I still get emails from that same dealer about the same car that I traded in to them asking me to bring it in for maintenance. Now, that's an extreme and perhaps a slightly silly example, but let's not mince words here. That type of thing has a profound impact on customer loyalty. I am way less likely to build a long-term relationship with that dealer that, frankly, cannot remember the interactions that I've had with them as a customer. And when we stop and think about it, that's a pretty big deal, right? The average American sits in their car for approximately 293 hours every single year. That is 12 consecutive days spent entirely in your car. When you think about it, shouldn't we have the best possible experience when buying something we use that much? Now, granted, that's all very easy for me to say as I run my mouth in front of a microphone. It's much harder for team leaders to make that a reality. If OEMs and dealers want to make a better customer experience, especially considering they only talk to customers maybe once a year, maybe once a decade, and they have to navigate an absurdly high-stakes transaction every time they interact, they need reliable digital tools to make that happen. And Salesforce Automotive Cloud might just be exactly that. This is Transformation at Work, a podcast about real stories of business transformation and Salesforce success, without all the jargon attached. The show is brought to you by Gerent, a summit-level Salesforce consulting and implementation partner and solutions provider, and I am Jeff Stormer, your host as always. In this episode, we're taking a high-level look at Salesforce Automotive Cloud, why businesses need it, how it stands to impact automotive dealerships and OEMs, and how Gerent's new automotive practice is positioned to help businesses take advantage of the solution. Our guest is Nikhil Bhatia, Gerent's automotive practice lead. Nikhil brings over 11 years of experience in mechanical engineering and automotives into his new role, as well as a lifelong passion for cars. His background in digital strategy gives him unique insight into the challenges the auto industry faces as it relates to data sharing, digitalization, and data security. We start our conversation by breaking down exactly how the automotive industry has reacted to the rapid change in the marketplace towards a data-first, customer-driven industry, and how Automotive Cloud fits into those changing needs. Let's hear from Nikhil.
The automotive industry, like any other retail industry, is moving from a product-centric approach to a more of a customer-centric approach. As customers, and I will put on my customer hat here, to say that if I'm looking for a vehicle, I should be able to see the inventory, I should be able to see the accessories, I should be able to see the pricing, etc. on the website. It is not a market anymore where you can hide these kind of informations or have to click 8 times in order to reach a certain piece of information about the vehicle. So I think from my understanding of the last few years, I think the automotive industry has definitely taken up that challenge head on to try and adapt with respect to, other retailers like Best Buy, Staples, who have really created an omni-channel experience for their customers. And I think we are already on the right path towards creating that kind of an experience for our customers as well. And Automotive Cloud is one of the best examples for us creating a very industry-specific, customizable solution for our automotive customers and partners.
So let's talk a little bit more about that customer experience, because I think that anyone who's bought a car, had a car serviced, we can all recognize that that experience is rough is an understatement, right? So when it comes to dealerships in particular, where do you see the gaps in process that lead to the pain points that we as customers are so very familiar with?
In my opinion, I think the reason I work in this industry is because I believe that car buying is probably as important a decision as buying a house, because you don't make 20 decisions like these in your lifetime. And a vehicle is something that you want to feel safe and you want to feel comfortable in. So, for example, I was checking, I've driven my car about in 2.5 years, more than 800 hours. That's a lot of time to spend in a vehicle. So I think from my perspective, what I'm noticing is that when you go to a dealership, people work in the car business because they believe in it. They are happy being around cars. But at the same time, despite of their best intentions, they do not have the tools. They haven't been empowered yet with the right set of tools to create that great customer experience. And this is true for any software that exists in the world, that a software has to be created to make it easy for the users to use it. And if you don't do that, user adoption gets severely affected. We are not able to get the results we want. And as the data spills out of, the digital ecosystem, that's when the problems start. So I think despite of the best intentions of people in the industry, we are still looking for that perfect solution or a solution which can be highly customized to every dealer, to every OEM, and to be able to address every user's needs within the industry. And once we are able to do that is only when we'll be able to create a great customer experience.
When you really break it down, it's kind of hard to imagine that we're all so willing to settle for a disappointing customer experience when we buy a car. I mean, think about it. In 2021, the average price of a new car was $47,000. If I am spending upwards of $50,000 on a car and I'm sitting in it for 2 full weeks out of the year, I'll be blunt, I really deserve the best possible customer experience, and in a lot of cases, we simply aren't getting it. But in spite of the prevalence of disappointing experiences, let's hear from Nikhil about why he remains optimistic about the future of the industry.
I'm very optimistic despite of all the hurdles that we are in a great position as of 2022. I've never seen so much momentum for digital transformation, for people who are interested in creating solutions, people who really want to serve their customers well. And I think in the last few months, I've been talking to a lot of key stakeholders within the automotive industry, at a dealer level, at an OEM level. Everybody is talking about the same things. They want highly customizable solutions with a full viewpoint of what is happening with their customers. They want to serve them better. They just don't have been empowered yet.
And so let's talk about that shift, right? Like, let's talk about how OEMs and dealers can service the needs of those customers, right? Like, how are OEMs and dealers currently managing that shift in shopping habits towards online sales? And can digitalizing data and sharing it between different arms of an organization help them better meet customers where they are?
Most OEMs and dealers are still dealing with siloed systems, as a result of which X doesn't talk to Y, one software doesn't talk to the other. And as a result, we are not able to get a full 360-degree view of our customers. So I think definitely the foundational structures are not fully there for a lot of the companies where we want to create metrics like return on marketing investment. You need your data to be consolidated for that. If you talk about customer lifetime value, you want your data to be consolidated for that and the systems to talk to each other. So I think, in my opinion, right now we are in a phase where the foundational structures are being laid. And again, coming back to Auto Cloud, I think the very foundation of the Auto Cloud has been towards consolidating data, towards giving a 360-degree view to OEMs and dealers of their customers. So I think that is the foundation that we are working on. And I'm hoping that that can help bridge that gap of at least bringing visibility to the OEMs and the dealers as to what their customers are doing. Because even now, from my past discussions, and I mentioned this just a few minutes ago, most OEMs and most dealers are not fully able to track the customer lifetime value. And how do you do that? You need your data to be consolidated. You need your systems to talk to each other. And that is very much the foundation of why Auto Cloud has been launched.
And when we talk about digital tools, that brings us right to Salesforce. And so let me ask you the $10,000 question. How can Salesforce Automotive Cloud better facilitate the sharing of data between different arms of a dealer or an OEM? And in turn, how can that transform the customer experience?
I think from what I've experienced so far, Automotive Cloud is a very industry-specific solution. And I think from historical data, we have always seen whenever Salesforce has developed an industry-specific solution, whether it's healthcare cloud, manufacturing cloud, or even nonprofit cloud, they've always delivered on solving the big problems that any industry faces. So, for example, when we talk about what the Auto Cloud does, I think Customer 360 is a very well-known platform within the Salesforce ecosystem. And for Auto Cloud, we have created Driver 360, which leverages the full power of Customer 360, where we are able to get a single view of our customers and vehicle lifecycle. I think that's exactly what we were talking about are the key problems that we are trying to solve. And of course, when we talk about Salesforce, we talk about user adoption, we talk about change management, and we talk about different kind of foundational structures that we need to have around the software implementation in order for that to be successful. So I think Salesforce, along with the support of its Salesforce consulting partners like Gerent, we are in a great position to help answer a lot of the problems that the OEMs and dealers were looking for solutions for a long time.
Hearing you say that, that's huge, right? Like that ability to have that 360 view of a driver's full life cycle, especially with how they handle their vehicle. Having that view is vital, especially when you consider that if I'm putting back on my customer hat, I'm only buying a car once a decade. That's a really long time between business interactions. And so knowing who I am as a customer, it is easy for that data to get lost. Would you agree with that? What are your thoughts on that?
Absolutely, Jeff. And you hit on an important point, which I was going to just mention, is that, you buy a car once. You probably go to the service center over a 10-year period, maybe 10 times or 8 times, despite of your scheduled maintenance. But what we are trying to achieve here is to know our customer better, even when they are not coming to our store. For example, they are driving a car. You've hit 20,000 kilometers. You're due for an oil change. Would you like to be told in advance that in a week's time your oil change would be due, or you need some kind of a renewal, or your lease is up, or so many other things that can be automated if the dealers have a view of what the customer is doing, how much they are driving, etc. So I think from that perspective, OEMs want to have a long-lasting relationship with their customer over the full 10-year period, and not just the 8 or 10 times they visit them in person or visit their website. So I think this definitely answers that question, that we are definitely moving to a customer-centric model where we care about our customers. We are not just a company that is making cars and creating mobility solutions. We actually care about what the customer's needs are. How much do they drive? And we also want to pitch them the best possible options for them, whether it's for, maintenance, or whether it's for, new car deals. All of those things are only possible when we have done our need analysis well. We understand what our customers are looking for and what are their driving patterns. So all of those things are, I think, a very critical aspect to the car buying experience. And in my opinion, again, we keep doing the customer hat, but that's something that I always go back to whenever I have to understand what the customers want. And I think buying a car is another situation, but maintaining a vehicle, especially I live in Canada where, the snow is kind of intense. So you would like to be proactively aware of your maintenance schedules about what's happening with your car, how well is it doing. So that is possible with the kind of solution we have created with Salesforce. So I'm looking forward to a much better buying or owning experience as a customer than I did a few years ago.
And I really want to drill a little further into that, right? I want to talk about that customer experience because I think that it can make a huge difference. And I think that a lot of people, having dealt with buying and servicing vehicles, probably are pretty familiar with that. Can you give me another example of what a truly differentiated customer experience looks like from a dealer's perspective, and how digitalization can play a role in that?
So to give you an ideal case example of what I'm aiming for in the future is, and it's not just for customers, it's for everybody, even our stakeholders, that is the OEMs and the dealers as well. When I register a lead for a vehicle, I want that to be addressed within a 30-minute period. I would like to know the updated offers. I would like somebody to ask me what is my preferred method of communication so that, we are able to communicate effectively. And I would like the dealership to be proactive in giving me all the different options that they have for a certain vehicle, etc. I think that is only going to be possible once we are able to create a full ecosystem where we are able to get the most out of what our customers are looking for, and more importantly, deliver on the promises as an organization, what we want for our customers as well. So I think, to put it down, as a customer, I would like to see a world where we can have honest communication in a timely manner and be able to derive value for both the business and for the individual customer at the same time.
Let's take a second and really think about that phrase, an honest conversation, and think about the weight that that carries in the context of buying a car. That ability to have an honest conversation where there's real trust on both sides of the table, that's huge, right? That's game-changing. And for a purchase that, like Nikhil said, is so important, so crucial, so potentially life-changing, that's a massive improvement. From the dealer's perspective, knowing your customer, knowing their needs, and knowing you can give them the right car that's going to turn them into a repeat customer. And from the customer's perspective, having the kind of experience that means that you don't have to doubt, you don't have to ask questions, you know that you're getting the best possible experience and you're going to find the car that fits into your life and makes a meaningful difference for you. And that is a powerful thing. And now, speaking of trust, let's throw it back to Nikhil to talk about how Salesforce Automotive Cloud can ensure a level of trust that nowadays might be more relevant than ever.
As a car owner, I have shared probably every financial detail of my life when I bought the car. Along with that, 50 other pieces of information I shared with them. So when I'm working with a business, I think it is very important for me, and I can speak for most of the people that I have had this conversation with. As a consumer, I want my data to be safe. I want my data to be protected. And I think Salesforce is such a beautiful ecosystem where everything is on the cloud. You never lose your data. You're protected in so many ways. So I think that is definitely one of the reasons why I believe in what we are doing at Salesforce, is because I'm able to see how secure a customer's data can be. And that is definitely the need of the hour, not of the future.
You're right. We've seen so many instances of data security being an issue. And to your point, you know, when you are buying a car, you are sharing everything with that dealer. And so, you know, having a solution in place that is secure and reliable and, for lack of a better way to put it, locked down, that kind of confidence that brings really cannot be overstated.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think companies are interested. Companies are more than motivated. Organizations, OEMs, dealers are more than motivated to work towards, customer data security. But we, as their industry partners, are responsible for creating those industry leading solutions. And before customers, for OEMs to be able to trust us that, hey, we believe that your solution is going to keep our digital ecosystem safe and our data well within where it's supposed to be. So I think it works in the overall ecosystem where we are overall trying to increase the trust factor of the OEMs, customers, dealers, and everybody who's involved in this.
There really is a ton of potential in digital tools and Salesforce Automotive Cloud for dealers and OEMs looking to improve the customer experience. But one big question remains. How do you actually get people to use it? As we all know, a tool is only useful if teams actually take advantage, and CRM adoption has long been a pain point for the automotive industry. So the question for team leaders looking to improve their customer experience and considering Salesforce Automotive Cloud is, how do they actually motivate their teams to adopt? Here's what Nikhil had to say.
So I think the first thing that I would expect any client of ours or customer of ours to do is be honest in what their challenges are, what they are looking for, because we are here to create a custom solution for them. And we are here to address each and every customer's problems in their own way. Everybody has their own secret sauce. And here, what I'm trying to achieve is not for a company or a dealer to hit their monthly or their annual targets. I want better lead conversion rate for every lead that they receive. Whatever they need in order to achieve that, we want to know from them what they are looking for. Of course, we have industry solutions for automotive, and at the same time, we are working on creating a bigger ecosystem of solutions within the Automotive Cloud. But at the same time, the biggest expectations from our customers, dealers, and OEMs is for them to be honest about what their challenges are, what are the biggest problems they are trying to solve. And as long as we can have that honest conversation, I'm sure we can deliver on the promise.
And now, speaking of that promise, how does Gerent's automotive practice stand to help dealers and OEMs make the most out of Automotive Cloud and really ensure a successful, widely adopted product and also a solution that, to your point, hits those pain points and addresses those challenges and makes those meaningful differences in the experiences that dealers have with their customers?
Jeff, in my opinion, we are a company with industry experts who are trying to solve business problems. And of course, we have Salesforce expertise as well. So that means that provides me the opportunity along with, my team to create solutions solving business problems. And I think that's the biggest gap between most companies trying to solve technology problems and trying to fit them into an industry. But we are trying to solve industry problems here first, and then trying to create an ecosystem of Salesforce around it to answer all the problems that our customers are facing. So I think that's a very critical part of what we are doing. And another two things which make Gerent stand out is our change management practice, because as we discussed, user adoption metrics are always a challenge. The first 90 days of any software implementation are the most critical aspects where either the user adoption metrics rise or they drop significantly. So with the change management team and the support of Gerent Digital, I think we are uniquely positioned to answer a lot of the questions that our customers, dealers, and OEMs have in their mind, which they are trying to solve using technology.
Whether you're a dealer, an OEM, or a service provider, at some point we've all tried to buy a car, sell a car, trade a car, service a car, something to that effect. And if we put on our customer hat, I had to say it just one more time, we all know that the customer experience could stand to be a lot better. Better communication between service and sales, a clearer picture of the customer at every step of their journey, safer handling of customer data. These are all things that dealers and OEMs can achieve, and they'd all have a measurable impact on how enjoyable or at least stress-free it is to buy a car. And that's going to have a direct impact on how likely customers are to build long-term relationships with their dealers. The key to those changes, however, is in tools. Auto dealers want to deliver a process. The willingness is there. They just need the right, reliable digital tools, such as Salesforce Automotive Cloud, to really kick that transformation into high gear and build a better car buying process from top to bottom. This has been Transformation at Work. Thank you so much for listening, and thank you to Nikhil Bhatia for his incredible insights on this episode. Transformation at Work is, as always, produced by Gerent in collaboration with Salesforce. I am Jeff Stormer, your host and producer. If you enjoyed the show, consider leaving us a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts or on Spotify, or head to gerent.com to sign up for email updates when new episodes drop on the feed. Until next time, thank you so much for listening, and we hope to see you again real soon.